Hello, hello. Wait for some folks to come on in. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me. Hello, thanks for joining. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Okay, so guys, I'm not going to, I won't wait and hold you. We'll just let everybody else just go back and review the video. Once again, I want to start with I am Alicia White. I am the author of this book, Unspoken Truth, The Aftermath of Sexual Abuse. I wanted to come on. God laid a couple of things on my heart to come on and discuss today. First and foremost, I am a sexual trauma survivor. At the age of 11, I was molested by one of my uncles. And so this topic today is so, near and dear to me. It's one of those things that, it's just going to go with you wherever you are. Even though I am completely healed and whole from sexual trauma and all of the aftermath that left me with. One of the things that I do try and do now is to make sure that other children are not being victimized like I was. The thing about that is that I'm always out in the community. I'm reaching out to adults. I'm saying, hey, listen, we have to learn how to take care of our babies. One thing God laid on my heart is this thing that we used to call a long time ago kissing cousins. Kissing cousins, and I'm pretty sure everybody know about that. When you were younger, and as soon as you got with your cousins and things like that, or friends of the family, the first thing people will always holler, let's play mommy and daddy, or let's play house. Well, the thing about that is that I've played house, I've played let's go, hide go seek. I've done those things, right? But let me tell you something. Some of those things are very, very inappropriate. Okay? I'm going to tell you why. Because as much as you think you know a person, you really don't. And so that means that could be a nephew or a niece that you have no clue is watching things, or things are being downloaded in their spirit when they are not around you. And so therefore, your child has the potential to be victimized by another child. Well, the thing is that if you're not teaching your child, the difference between, good touch, bad touch, if you're not communicating with them to say nobody under no circumstance should be doing these things, because I'm going to tell you, when we were younger, well, I can only speak from my own experience. When I was younger, I would always hear, kids ought to be seen and not heard. Well, I want you to think about this. If you only see your child and you don't hear them, there's a lot of things that could potentially be going wrong. There's a lot of things that other people are allowing them to talk about. Other people are talking to your children about. There are a lot of things that is happening right under your nose. And so as parents, we got to do better. All that, when we had like friends of the family and things like that. When you would go over to go with your parent, your mom, your dad, whomever, to that good close family friend, and as they were staying, if you had to stay the night, most of the times, what did we do? We all took baths and stuff together. And so the thing about that is that you are subjecting your child, because I know that back in the day, it male and female, they were being bathed in the same tub together. Well, the thing about that is that you don't know where each one of those children's mindsets are. They could be way off the beaten path of what you may think. It could be way off of, okay, well, no, they're not going to look at each other like that, But the truth of the matter is that as your child begins to get older, even as a toddler, they are learning different things. Okay, why is my body parts not like your body parts? And what is it that you do with yours that I can't do with mine? Things like that. So they are very, very curious. And so if you are not teaching, my thing is, if just because you're not teaching, don't mean they're not learning. They are definitely learning. They are learning a whole lot of things. Now, the one thing that was very, very confusing for me, even when I went through my entire ordeal, was I didn't know that there was a difference between rape and molestation. And so after my ordeal happened, I literally was running out saying, hey, I was raped, and so from there I was rushed to the emergency room, where I was later informed by the doctors and the nurses there that it wasn't a rape, it was a molestation. And so when you think about rape and molestation, like both of them are painful. So what is the difference? Well, the state actually recognizes it as a different act. So what is defined as is that rape is comes with penetration. Molestation is all the other stuff before the actual act of rape. So fondling and just brushing up against, we all know, we've all had an experience where someone may have touched us in a way that we were like, okay, that didn't feel quite right, like, but is it not significant enough to share? I think all of it should be significant to share. So when I think about even with my children, with my own kids, I think about how my older two children were, like, I literally had to check them on a daily basis. That was something that I did because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. And so many times that I find out after, now that I'm life coaching, my thing is so many times we find out that, maybe we were, maybe somebody did cause us a little pain, and we didn't really know how to respond because we weren't taught that. There was a situation that happened in my family years and years ago where there was another uncle that would be, would take us to the store, but he immediately, first of all, he only wanted to take the girls. The boys really couldn't come and go. We would buy, he would buy us anything in the store that we wanted. But when we pulled up there, we were not allowed to open up the door to get out. Now, mind you, we were okay with getting in because getting in is where the rest of our parents were. So it looked like, oh, okay, no big deal, right? What we did not know and what we didn't understand to say in that moment was, hey, every time Uncle so-and-so takes us to the store, we can't go over and open the door. He has to come out. He has to get out of the driver's seat, come around to the other side of the door, and let us out. Well, the thing is that when he's letting us out, he's picking each one of us up and putting us out of the truck. Now think about that. That should be very, very innocent. Here's the thing where it gets that line kind of, it's a gray area or a gray zone. The thing about that is that when he picked us out, we literally all got like felt up on. But the thing about that is that okay, do you go back and say, "Mom, when Uncle so and so picked me up, like he grabbed me, but his hand kind of accidentally touched my butt." So the thing about that is that your parent will probably say, "Okay, well, baby, that's an accident." And the first couple of times, that's what I thought it was, until I noticed. I mean, every time you take us to the store, you're accidentally touching either our butt or our breast, something. You're gonna touch us some way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, the thing about that is that we didn't know enough to go back and say, "Hey, this is something that's happening to us," because it almost felt as though um, if we had said something, it would be, that could be explained away. And so we really didn't say anything about it. But it's not that it didn't happen. So my thing is that I knew how I felt in the moment. And so now I teach my children, about good touch, bad touch, all of that. And I'll never forget one time I took my kids to their pediatrician, and while we were there, the doctor had to check them, below. And immediately my children went to grabbing and saying, "No, my mama said nobody is supposed to touch me down there." And so, of course, the pediatrician and myself had to put my child at ease and say, "Hey, listen, this kind of, this is the doctor. They just check you out. I'm going to be right here. It's not like I'm going to let anything bad happen to you." My thing is that that's how we all should respond that way. But we really got some children that, because their parents are not being taught, are not talking to them, they just, they get mistreated, they get mishandled. And so that's my biggest thing, that's the thing I'm doing. I'm on this crusade to be out into the community, guys, just letting people know how to protect our babies. Because my thing is right now, I know, and even, with my oldest daughter, who is now dating, and when I tell you, it's a bit of a scary place to be in, but I know that she she is not impressed with a whole lot of stuff, because my husband and I have made sure that we validate her here at home first. Because if you don't do that with your children, as soon as they get out into the world and somebody show up with some flowers or candy or steak dinner, things like that, they immediately, people fall into this trap like, "Oh my God, he's whining and dining me," and you fall into, what's ultimately called the love trap. And it's just like, okay, really, what are we really doing? Why is my daughter so caught up into a relationship to where she just can't leave even though she's being mistreated? And it's because it's almost like that guy is showing her a total different world. And so if you don't validate your children at home, we end up with some very, with our children making some very questionable decisions. I mean, so anything that I am doing, I try to make sure that my kids understand, number one, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And I'm not one of those people that go out and have a steak dinner at the restaurant and leave the children at home. Do we do that sometimes? Yeah. But my children also have visited all of the same restaurants, and so we make sure that we're out there doing things with them, because especially with our daughters, we're making sure that no little man, no young guy is coming over and just kind of popping his head in and saying, "You know what, I could do X, Y, and Z because you ain't never had that." You know what I'm saying? And so when we're affirming them and validating them here at home, that leaves less room for the enemy to come in and prey on our children. So I just wanted to take the time just to kind of talk to you guys about that. Also, when your children are having kids sleeping over and all that stuff, and I don't care even if it's just, your cousins, your nieces or your nephews, their cousins, you need to make sure that those children aren't still, sleeping in the bed together, all that stuff, always up under covers. Things are happening up under them covers, on them pallets y'all like to make for them babies, or in them rooms. You need to be aware of what's going on at all times, with your children. And making sure that you make the time to sit down and talk to your babies. Because if you don't sit down and talk to them, somebody else will be sitting down talking to them. And it's not going to be for your good or for their good. So make sure that you're paying attention to your babies. Make sure that you're just taking the time to love on them. And I understand as parents, we sometimes get really, really busy with running errands here, working, doing X, Y, and Z. But let me tell you something. Our children are our future. And these babies they already living in a world that is so corrupted and so, filled with violence, filled with anger, filled with rage. We have to make sure that we, even if it's just 10, 20 minutes, make sure that we, carve out that time to spend time with our babies. Don't just leave them in their own little world. Because once you leave them in their own little world, they go off and they create their world. And guess what? You're not a part of it. That's a problem for me. It should be a problem for you. So I'm telling you to be mindful of what's going on. And these kissing cousins, let me just say this. That's not cute, because they turn out and it looked like in the beginning, oh, they just kissing cousins. They love one another. I want you to know that there's a lot of little kissing cousins that grew up to become rapists and molesters. So be mindful of the kissing cousins. That's what God laid on my heart to share with you guys today. That the book is out, Unspoken Truth. You can always get a copy of that on my website. It's in my bio. But other than that, if you guys don't have any questions for me, I'm going to jump off. Hey, Tori, do y'all have any questions today? I think a couple of y'all kind of dipped out. Y'all might be back at work. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment. Also, you guys, my YouTube channel is up and running. It is Swag 344. And so you can go on, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to be posting more videos, and I have a couple of them that's on there as of right now. Also, I have a huge giveaway that I'm getting ready to start within a couple of days, so I'll have all that information, but you'll find that out on my YouTube channel, and I also will be posting some things on this page as well as my Facebook page. So you guys make sure that you're keeping in touch. Go and like my Facebook page. It's Swag BR on Facebook, and I will definitely talk with you guys later. I absolutely love coming on and having the dialogue with you guys, because it's very much it's informative and it's needed. So I will talk with you guys later. Thank you.